Welcome to Dead Talk, the podcast where we dissect one Grateful Dead song at a time. Join me as we explore the history, meaning, and musical composition of their classic tracks. Whether you're a longtime Deadhead or curious newcomer, there's always something new to discover about the music of the Dead. So sit back, relax, and let's dive deep into the world of the Grateful Dead. Welcome to Dead Talk, episode 8, where we have another very special guest. It's St. Louis's youngest real estate investor and business owner, contractor, mastermind behind all things building and woodworking. He just happens to be my favorite person walking the planet who I'm not getting married to, my identical twin brother, Jacob Smith.
Aww.
Hello.
Thank you for the kind introduction.
That was powerful.
Yeah, I was,
Yeah.
everybody, like, you're a special person, and we're here talking about a special song. Just wanted to,
Nice.
let everybody know while you're here, why you are here.
Well, I'm here to talk about the Grateful Dead right now.
Sweet. So
Well, you're in the right place, man.
That's good.
we've talked about the Grateful Dead together in this house so many times, and we've actually seen countless, if not over 100 Dead shows together, I would think.
It's got to be super close to that.
Like
at least.
we've seen Dead and Company together like over 20 times, and then the Schwag and Sean Kane's Voodoo Players, Jake's Leg, Alligator Wine, Forgotten Space, like
Oh, yeah.
you name it. We usually go together. So having guests on the show, I always allow them to choose the song that we discuss. And what did you choose, and why are we here talking about it?
So we chose, I guess I chose West LA Fadeaway. And this song is special to me when I think of the Grateful Dead because it was the song that got me into listening to their music on a regular basis and wanting to like dive deeper into them.
Really?
It is, yeah. So
That's a curveball.
I feel like that's a pretty hidden song to hear. I guess you didn't hear it for like, it wasn't one of the first Dead songs you heard, I guess not.
No, but it was the song that I heard that was like, oh, fuck, this is sick. I care about this now instead of just hopping on a bandwagon, you know what I mean? Because I was quite literally in your van with our friend Andrew, like going to Charlotte, North Carolina. I was like, oh, I'll go see the Dead. Like, pretty like ignorant towards the whole thing. Didn't really know most of their music apart from like, Box of Rain and Touch of Grey and things like that, But they had like this shitty, I think it was on a cassette tape or something that you guys were just listening to over and over again. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, we had a phone player, an aux cord that was into the cassette player.
Oh, that was. It still came from the internet then. Yeah.
It did, yeah. The only thing we actually had on cassette was this Eric Clapton one, and then we had somehow had pizza tapes on cassette that we would listen to a lot.
Oh, that's
tight.
awesome.
Yeah.
I don't remember where we got that. I think Andrew might have had it or something.
I think he did. But, I was traveling in your all's van. It was your van, but he lived in it. I don't know. Anyway, I was in the back before I had my own car, but we were just listening to Dead all the time because we were about to drive from Missouri to North Carolina to go see Dead and Company in 2016. And I've never, I was not a part of any of this before then. And I remember hearing West LA for the first time and that groove just like it was the groove that got me. That was like, this is so sick. And I remember Andrew was getting all annoyed with me because I'd always like want to put that on. Like, can you play West LA? Can you play West LA? He's like, dude, like, come on,
Listen to the rest of the music, dude.
Right, no, exactly. And I was like, all right, well, if I like this song that much, I should probably, I'm sure I'd like the rest of their music too, But there's always like a key track with like most artists that I feel like people get into, that's like, oh shit, this song's really good. I wonder what else they've done. And for me, that was West LA, Fadeaway.
Was it the studio version?
No, it's
Okay,
like a really shitty recording of it. I maybe like our speakers just sucked. That's probably what it was. But it was hard to listen to. There's a lot of fuzz. It's probably just the car now that I'm thinking about it. But no, it was like a live shitty fucking iPhone into a tape recorder into a fucking shitty ass sound system. But even given that circumstances, like the groove still like cut through and hit me where it needed to, you know?
I can hear it now.
Yeah, it always, that groove and the vibe of the song always made me feel, reminded me of like spies or like secret agent work, or like specifically, I don't know if you know like the old school video game Spy versus Spy. They had like triangle heads. One was black, one was white. Like had black clothes. I don't know why.
You know what you're talking
What
about?
platform is that on? Computer?
PlayStation?
I honestly have no idea. But for some reason, this song has always reminded me kind of that and just like secret agentness for whatever reason.
These guys?
Oh, yeah. Okay, I remember that.
Yeah.
PlayStation 2.
Yeah. I think they even have like some. So I guess this was actually a comic strip in like newspapers that they turned into a video game.
Oh.
But we're not talking about that. So
It just the imagery of that always came to mind for some reason, and maybe like part of the lyrics, like got a steady job hauling items for the mob, some kind of like you kind of feel like a gangster or like a spy, doing some illegal shit, you know.
It's definitely like the song. I would say is definitely towards the dangerous life of like doing drugs and selling drugs. And, you know,
L.A. I mean, it was just with the word L.A.
West LA, was that
in a
kind
chateau.
of known?
Well, you know, you're shacking up in a chateau. It's a place. It's a nice spot where you can rent and do drugs and live a hedonistic lifestyle. You know, that's where a lot of celebrities will go and do that shit.
for sure. And Robert Hunter wrote the lyrics with Jerry Garcia. Did
Back
the,
on
did
our
the music, you
Robert
know?
Hunter train. We took a little break last time.
But you guys remember John Belushi?
Yep.
So
no, who's
he was like a comedian back in the day, like in the 80s or whatever.
He was on like Saturday Night Live.
okay?
He's like one of the first people on Saturday Night Live.
Okay.
Like when the show started. But he was like good friends with Jerry and like all those guys. Like he was like a part of their clique.
huh.
And
Kind of like what's the guy now? He's a talk show host. God, I can't think of his name right now, but he's like a huge Dead fan, and he's like come on stage with Joe Russo and stuff.
Jimmy Fallon.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't
Totally.
know why, but he's like super into the Dead these days.
He's
funny.
got like a huge vinyl collection of just like all music.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Sorry to
listening.
interrupt you.
That's-
About
no,
back
it's all good. But
to John Belushi though.
yeah, I get so he died in a hotel room in West Hollywood on drugs, and the hotel
okay.
had 21 rooms.
So this is kind of a nod to John Belushi.
I think like
Did this come out after that?
that
It did.
I don't know if it
He
was.
died
like
on March 5th, 1982.
And this came out in December 30th, 1982.
Yeah.
So they could have like written it
And
before
then
it came out and stuff.
Robert Hunter put in some curveballs so that it's not directly about him or
well,
leads the viewer. You know, the
yeah.
listener.
I mean, I don't think he ever wanted to like specifically write this. Like, I don't know.
This
if he
song
was-
is about this.
Yeah. I think he kind of had like, you know, a moment in his life touched him, and then he came up with the concept of the song from maybe John or something. But then, but I kind of take it to just like drug use.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Oh, me too. I mean, it's always stuck out to me. I love it. It's so creative. 21 rooms, you know, it's a chateau. You're in this lavish place.
I
but I
only
only
need
need one
one.
room
Yeah.
to do what I need to do.
Yeah, and it's
And
like
I don't even want to buy it for long term. I just need it for like a quick second to
I don't even
do
want to
some
rent.
weird
I just
shit,
want to
yeah.
like use it.
Do
So,
some things I'm not proud of.
you know, like it could be like sex with somebody or
drugs,
shooting up or
yeah.
snorting something, you know. But I think it's definitely like a speedball type of thing because you know the lyrics are like big red or little red light on the highway, big green light on the speedway. Hey,
yeah,
hey, and I think
go
that's
on the speed
Yeah, like go on the speed. Like I
Yeah.
think they're literally talking about like coke or what meth or whatever. Like like a speedball with
Yeah.
So
A little red light, hookers.
Oh yeah, the red light. Yeah, okay, red light districts. Okay,
red light. Yeah,
that's interesting because like the Dead has this kind of like drug use undertone or overtone
for sure. Yeah.
Undertone.
A little
but,
bit of both.
But I feel like they're never super like blatant about it in the music, except this song. And maybe like Casey Jones mentions
Yeah.
cocaine and stuff, but it's not like this where
But
it's like
even-
some straight up.
I
like,
don't even think this is straight up.
I don't think it's straight up either.
All right. Well, fuck
I
me
mean,
then.
no. It's pretty straight up, but it's not like the word cocaine or
that's fair.
And it's
you know,
like,
I mean,
Well, you
compared to
can
music
only interpret
nowadays,
it. You can only interpret this so many ways. I feel like.
it's a very tasteful way to talk about sex, drugs, and
Rock and
rock
roll.
and roll, and overdoses and all the bad things that happen in a place that's a rental by the hour.
Yeah, it's funny.
Like, nothing
It's hard
good
to come
happens in a
across.
place
Yeah,
that's-
that you can rent by the hour.
Yeah, it's just- And the
or
Dead,
by the minute.
and I think that's good. The cool thing about the Dead is that they wrote the song, and it's still a story to tell, and it's not like nowadays modern music where maybe where they brag about these. This is still a story that they're
And it's
painting because these
still
guys don't
poetic
live
and
that
everything.
lifestyle.
It's not like
We know that Bobby and Jerry and all them are not like renting rooms at the chateau to fucking have sex parties and do cocaine. Well, we don't know that.
it was the 80s. I think everybody was doing that in the 80s. I don't know.
fair.
I wasn't there though. So.
That's fair.
But I don't know. I think it is cool how like the words paint a certain picture on their like direct meaning, but also like not like everything that they say is exactly what they're actually saying. It's more of like a deeper behind it,
Yeah.
But and yeah, so it's like had a steady job hauling items for the mob. It's not like, well, I fucking sell drugs and fucking
I love
like,
that. It's so
yeah.
tasteful.
It is like, and it's not. It's like the mob. Who's affiliated with the mob or really talks
Yeah.
about the mob?
I like it because when I hear the song, when I close my eyes and listen to it, I could almost hear like thunder in the background, like a Riders on the Storm, the Doors style. And when you close your eyes and listen to that beat, and you can just see the shadows, like you're talking about with the Spy vs. Spy.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know what the mob is. You don't know what this guy's face is. He's just a worker bee for the bigger organization.
Yeah,
And if he can get a room, he doesn't care. I mean, he's hanging out with these mob stars that have a 21-room house, but he just wants one room, And if he's got to haul items, that's what he's going to do. And that's,
in a briefcase.
yeah, he's just like a worker bee. He's no one. I mean, he could get off in any second.
It also reminds me of in the documentary they talked about speaking of briefcases when they're getting into Europe, going through customs. They had a briefcase, I guess, like a bunch of LSD or something that they were kind of weird about, but ended up getting through. Always kind of some real life relationship with like the Dead, history as a band, and traveling with like their lyrics, like. They were kind of a mob and shit, like across the world.
Yeah,
You
for
know
sure.
what I'm saying?
I mean, yeah, they traveled like 100 deep with people, so they're definitely a mob.
And so a lot of
the
ways,
family.
Yeah.
it could be kind of reflective of like Robert writing it about the band as well.
Yeah, because he was probably a little removed from like the
I think he
shows and
was.
the
And then
touring and stuff.
It's like, yeah, you could allude all that stuff to like John Belushi, but also it's like Jerry was also no different either. you
Yeah.
know?
because he died from some pretty hardcore shit.
Yeah.
Because it's like same thing that John died from, but it's like, so it's just kind of cool. He's up there singing the lyrics that he's like a part of this mob and does drugs, and he's just like
Open
pretty
about
much
it.
so open about it, but it's got like such a cool and like ambiguous tone to it, where it's like you got to really think about it to be like, oh yeah, he's fucking doing that stuff,
Yeah, because just as a listener who's not really like interpreting the lyrics as they listen to, like while they drive or do the dishes or anything, they're just getting down on the beat and the solos and stuff. They're not like,
And if if we want to like touch on like the music part of it, I mean, we talked a lot about the lyrics, but like the music is super cool, like the chord changes and everything, because like this whole vibe is pretty much created around just an A minor chord that hangs on for a really long time, you know? And I love it when, I don't know if this was intentional by the writers with like Jerry seeing the lyrics or vice versa, you know? But, you know, it's like, West LA fade away, then down, down. That's like one of the first times it strays away from the A minor, and you're like kind of fading away from your like kind of home base, you know,
To the D and C. Mm-hmm. Man, I don't need it.
And it's interesting too because like the song is pretty much A minor with like a few changes, but it's just A minor the whole time. But like the D kind of suggests that it's not in like a traditional A minor, because if it was, it'd be a D minor chord, you know? And then you go into the C, and then like the part that brings it back around is a B7. So, you know, those are two chords that you wouldn't see in the key of E minor traditionally, but you would see literally all of those chords in the key of E minor. So
A minor. You said E minor first. Sorry.
E minor?
Yeah, you said it wouldn't traditionally be in the key of E minor.
No.
You mean A minor, though, right?
No, yeah, it wouldn't be in A minor,
Yeah.
but all those chords are found in
In
E minor.
E minor.
Yeah,
Correct,
so it's
yeah.
kind of it's interesting because
But they never play in E minor, so
Yeah, but they use the B7 as the turnaround, like you would in an E.
like an E minor,
Yeah.
but then you would also see a C, D, and an A minor in E minor, but not traditionally in A minor. If that makes sense. So it's like, it's all based around A minor, but one could also think of the song being in the key of E minor, which is also kind of goes along with the lyrics in the fact that's like they're talking about one thing, but could be alluding to another thing, Mm-hmm. So it's interesting how they like match the words in the music like that, and like such a cool vibe. So, and it's also as a guitar player that's been playing this song for such a long time, as the rhythm guitar player with my band that you guys are in.
yeah, we've played this song a fuckload of times.
Yeah, no, it's like one of my favorites because it's got such a cool vibe, and it's just like you could go to so many different places and it never sounds the exact same. But like as the guy playing rhythm guitar for something that is playing an
Essentially
A
one
minor
chord.
chord
Yeah.
for the entire song, it makes me come up with different chords up and down the neck to make that A minor, but then also doing different rhythms, so it's not like you're
Yeah.
just strumming the same thing.
We used to lock in a lot on this.
Yeah, because then it like I learned different like voicings of an A minor to go up and down the neck, so I could do something else other than just hang on the one thing,
I love playing this song on drums.
Yeah, because
It is so
it's very like rhythm based too, because it is like not a lot of chord changes. You could just really hone in on the.
Which makes soloing over it so free. You can almost play anywhere on the neck because it's in A minor, I guess, which is like kind of C. And C is, you can really do anything in the key of C.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I always kind of like, I don't know. Now I kind of think of this as an E minor song for some reason, but I know it's like that's not how music works,
It's almost it could be sampled for like a hip hop song. I mean, when I play it live, I always think of like these 16th notes that I'm playing on the hi hat, or these 8th notes, or kind of swinging some stuff, and it's very hip hop influenced, or you can draw to that really quickly.
Yeah, for sure.
Which
Some
makes it
like
very
West
fun to
LA
play.
hip hop.
Yeah, like true, totally.
I don't even know if hip hop was around in '83.
For
It
sure.
was.
Yeah,
Oh,
fuck
okay.
yeah,
Yeah,
dude.
for sure.
Yeah, I was like, wasn't NWA in the 80s,
I think early 90s.
early
but
90s?
It's not '83.
And that's true.
83.
It's like fresh out of the 70s, but I don't know. I'm very ignorant when it
Well,
comes to that
80s
culture.
definitely
Yeah,
hip
me
hop
too.
started because that's when like Roland started making equipment to sample, and then you're taking all your 70s funk albums
Oh
and
yeah,
sampling them to
Cool.
get hip hop, and then the rap and
Mm-hmm.
and all that. I think the rest is history on that. But I'm pretty sure that's what would. Once we started sampling with like the Roland and
on a
that
side
equipment.
note, that's kind of funny because my dad was obsessed with like Janis Joplin growing up.
okay,
And so when I started getting into classic rock, when I was like in my early 20s, when I discovered America, I heard
Janis
Ventura.
Janis Jackson.
Did I say
Janis Joplin
Yeah.
is
I'm still stuck in the. I'm still stuck in
Janet,
that.
Janet.
Janet Jackson.
Janet Jackson. That's really her name.
I think so, yeah.
That is indeed.
All these years. Anyway, she's got a song that samples Ventura Highway.
Yeah, and I always
nice.
thought it was her song, and then I
Yeah,
heard
and-
America. I was like, oh, this is Janet
Yeah,
Jackson's song.
Janet Joplin.
I love Janet
Jackson.
Joplin.
Michael Jackson's sisters who we're talking about. You know? Anyway. Enough
So-
about all that.
So, like we said, this song was released in 1987, actually, in the Dark. But it was first played on the album In the Dark. It was the fourth track. But I guess it was first played on December 30th, 1982, in Oakland, California, at the Oakland Auditorium.
All right, we got a little bit of cross reference. I got August 28th, 1982, Oregon County Fair.
Okay, I would say
Just
maybe
putting that
that's
out
more
there.
right. Like
Just putting-
I get my sources a lot are from like DeadNet.
Yeah.
and so it's just an internet form. That's actually a published book, but it's also like so.
Dude,
Okay,
it's not what's important.
So it was on. It's kind of important because it's like there's no real. It seems like there's no real like
Dude.
actual documentation of
So
these things. You know,
to fill you in, Jake, when we started doing this podcast, we started talking about building like the official database so that anyone could search any song anytime. Because when we type in how many times has this song been played, we don't ever get a real answer.
It's like
So-
we get real answers from different sites, but they all say different things. So it's
like
like
building a
who
true
knows,
database
you know?
of like the official set list from cassette recordings so we can verify it and then write it, catalog it. Could be a good thing for human history, man.
But it's like it'd be super hard to find the accuracy of it as well.
Because I think the people who published it on their blogs probably think they're correct, and the person who put it in that book probably.
But
think
if
they're
we're
wrong,
already
but
getting this kind of like, and that's significant. You said what, December?
December 30th, yeah,
I'm saying August 28th. So
both
that's 4
82,
months.
both 82 though. Okay, that's still interesting how it was released. They started playing it in 82, and it wasn't released until 5 years later on an album.
Yeah, that is wild.
When was the studio record before that? When and what? Do you know?
I want to say maybe Go to Heaven,
Sounds about right. When
unless
did-
that was
when did that
afterwards.
I think Go to Heaven was after Into the Dark.
Yeah,
Maybe
let's pull it
Terrapin
up.
You think so?
Station was that?
So In the
There's
Dark
no way.
was 1987, and then Go to Heaven was 1980.
Was
There's
that
probably something
was-
in between there.
You think so?
I would think they would release an album in 7 years.
That would make sense.
Okay, well, in the book, do you have the last performance being on July 9th, 1995 at Soldier Field, Chicago?
Yeah, they don't give it. They don't give it to me on this one.
Okay, well, that was their last show. So I could see them playing at their
One-
last show.
I get super excited when I hear this at shows because I very seldom do. Like I don't know. I've seen J-Rad and Dead and Company so many times, but I don't think I've heard either of them do this one.
I've heard Dead and Company do it in Portland, Oregon in 2016. You didn't get into that show. We were doing the
didn't.
Miracle thing. I was the only one in our group that got in. But I heard him play it there. I'm pretty sure they've played it in St. Louis the last couple times that we've seen him. Either one or those shows kind of bleed together for me. But I'm pretty sure they played it here in St. Louis. Maybe in 2021. I want to say, but don't quote me on that. But the Dead played it about 374 times over the 12 years that it was active.
That's kind of
It's kind of a lot, I think, for 12
lot for
years.
12
So we
years.
just did the Box of Rain podcast not long ago, and they played Box of Rain about 330-ish times over the course of 25 years.
Mm-hmm.
So they really squeezed this one out in the course of 12 years comparative to
I think it's
something
'cause it
else,
just fucking rocks so
Yeah,
hard.
I would think so, too.
I'm excited to play it.
Yeah, me too. I'm gonna.
I haven't played the song in a long time.
Yeah, I think last time I played the song was probably the last time you played the song.
Shit, probably 2 years.
Yeah,
I was jamming in a little bit yesterday, getting ready for this.
nice. Yeah, we should figure out how to get an electric guitar sound out of this thing.
Okay, yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah.
Do you have any notable live performances that you like to listen to? Like if you listen to a live West LA Fadeaway, you gotta go to.
I do. I think it was 1990, the one with the head.
The So Glad You Made It, the spring 1990.
I think that's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one I listened to as well.
I think I've only heard the studio version of it like a couple times.
It's not my favorite.
Yeah.
I like it a lot. The studio version, it's pretty cool. I think it creates the vibe that there's like this like block sound that's really cool. It's like makes it sound like it's in a cave or something. But I also found there's like this Dead compilation on Spotify. It's like purple. There's like similar compilations with the same cover. Like they have a live one that's like green with the steely.
Oh,
you know what I'm
yeah,
talking
yeah,
with
I know what
like
you're talking about.
over
With a
100
bunch of-
tracks.
yeah.
So they got one with like alternative versions. And they have a West LA Fadeaway on that. It's called West LA Fadeaway Alternative Version. Doesn't give like a year or anything, but it's so slow. Like the song to begin with isn't super fast, but this one is way slower. It's kind of cool, but like I prefer the other ones. But it's definitely something to note. We'll listen to it later.
It sounds good. Yeah, I was super excited to learn the lick because I don't really know licks or play lead guitar that much. But like for me, knowing that riff was like so cool.
What's the riff?
The boom bum 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 bum.
Oh,
The fucking the thing.
The main
riff,
Yeah, the
main
riff, yeah. And it's like it's cool because like, you know, I don't really know like many riffs or licks or anything, but I like how like the same shape over the A is just like the same lick over the B. You know, bum, 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 bum. I don't know. It's like one of the only few licks or riffs that I know, but it's very fun. I was playing it on the piano the other day actually, and it sounded very bluesy.
okay. That's 7.
Yeah, more bluesy than it does on guitar, but I was also like trying to make it that way. You know? So
That's sick.
I like that lick too. When I solo over it, I tend to do it in like a lower octave and kind of work my way up to a higher octave and do the same lick, but like in a higher octave right afterwards.
yeah.
And it kind of hits a lot
yeah,
harder.
yeah,
You know, when you
I-
kind of build it up like that.
I remember when we would play this at gigs and stuff, I would always get super excited whenever like we were all kind of like doing the climax of the jam, and then we were all like going for it at the same time, and you did an octave higher, but like there was one moment where you like slid into the note from the note that you were there, and it was just like perfect. So
Nice.
yeah.
So, hey, well, all this talking about playing it makes me pretty excited to start playing it.
All right, yeah.
Do you guys
do it.
have any more notes you wanna touch on before we get the instruments out?
Now, this was a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me. I'm a big fan of what you guys are doing over here.
Thanks, man.
We're happy you're here, man.
I assume this won't be the only episode you appear on. What's kind of cool about the way we're going about this is having different guests on talking about one song. We can have different guests, the same guest, come on and talk about different songs.
Yeah.
Or we could have different guests talk about the same song.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, because everyone's got a different perspective or interpretation of these songs, and I just really am having a blast getting to know everybody through like this music we all share and love. So thanks for coming over and being part of
But
this,
you don't
buddy.
ever get to do West LA again.
That's
Yep.
true.
Yeah,
Nor
that's
should
true.
I.
This is your one chance. Don't fuck it up.
All right. Well, thank you for tuning in to the 8th episode of Dead Talk, where we just discussed West LA Fadeaway, and we will see you guys next week.